It's like trying to win a car race.
Should be a good one.
And as you're driving, saying, hey, make it run better.
You could have a posse of waifus.
Starting off kind of strangely.
Slaying the land.
Welcome to the show.
This is insanity.
Taking a critical look at the gaming news of the week.
This info is pretty shocking.
Somebody's got to give an answer to this.
This is Augmented Reality.
You are watching my favorite channel.
I've not heard of them.
The Triple S League. Enjoy, guys.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Augmented Reality Podcast for March 20th, 2021. This is your source for news, leaks, and analysis of games and the gaming industry, coming at you live on YouTube and Twitch and archived almost anywhere you could find podcasts. My name is Ash, and I'm here, thankfully, with Cyber Moontag. I was starting to wonder if I would be doing the show solo today, but anyway, they showed up, so that's good, and it should be a fun show today. We have some interesting stuff to talk about. Not all good news, but you know, we'll try to cover it in a fun way as always. Plus, we have some interesting discussion questions from our Discord members that we'll discuss a little bit. And again, like I said, should be a good show. If you're watching live, definitely say hello in the live chat. Put your comments and questions there as well, and we'll get to as many as we can throughout the podcast. Moon, how are you doing this morning?
Good. And I also want to kindly remind people, don't forget to smash that like button. It likes it rough, and it tells us and the YouTube algorithm that you appreciate this content. And don't forget to follow our main channel as well, the Triple S League, if you haven't already.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super stoked for like a lot of games in Horizon, because I've been like kind of nose to the grind working on like organizing and artwork and other behind the scenes things. But yeah, like I'm so excited to play Baldur's Gate. I've been watching Jamie play. We've been doing some Let's Play together, and it's such interesting game mechanics, and like I really like the design and the environment, and like I've been seeing a lot of people have fun with it, my friends and like other people on the community server, so I'm so stoked.
Good, awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to see you check it out for yourself. Maybe do some multiplayer. Does the early access version have the co-op play?
Yes.
It does?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Good, yes. I haven't tried it out myself.
Shenanigans afoot.
Shenanigans. I can't wait to... No, I'm looking forward to that. If you and Jamie do some co-op with that'd be fun to watch. All right, and Saib, what's new with you?
Oh, it's getting there. Spring is like, it's weird. We have definitely an early spring in our region, and it's bizarre because normally there's still a lot of snow on the ground. So yeah, kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
But
we've been spoiled. It's been very mild this year.
I'll say that, and then we'll get snow in like mid-July or.
Oh no, we got
something.
Don't jinx it. All right, everybody. Well, like I said, not all good news today. We have more Blizzard news to talk about, which is not a lot of fun, but
it's kind of an update on that situation, and the it's not like it's huge new news. It's just, oh hey, look, turns out Blizzard's being really evil again.
Again, yeah. Well,
again,
and I don't think we talked about this on Wednesday, so it might be new for our audience. Anyway, go ahead. I'll actually, you know what? Let's start with that story. I'll just bring the news articles up on the screen here.
There's an update that kind of came in midday yesterday. So again, first of all, we want to give our condolences to Japan. Just got hit with a big earthquake. This is about a month and a half now after their last big earthquake. This one hit a larger area. I don't think there was any deaths, but there was damage videos online today, and it looked pretty terrible. But that also means that the surrounding region is going to start suffering from tsunamis. So West Coast and other places are expecting tsunamis within the day or the next day. I think it takes quite a while for it to cross the ocean. Sometimes it's big, sometimes it's nothing to be. It's kind of weird. It's like some tsunamis based off of where the earthquake happens, are bigger than other ones. If it's slightly off the coast, you get a big one, and if it's really like heavy in the main island, then you won't really see very much of a, you won't really see that much of a wave network or system. But yeah, some of those ones can. I think they said that in the past, in like the recent past, within the last 1,500 years, one of the waves that hit the west coast from an earthquake in Japan or in that area sent a tsunami that was about I think they said it was about 15 stories to 20 stories tall, hit the west coast. And it's like, wow, again, it can happen in every 1,000 years ish. And it's surprising that people don't drill for that, because again, it's like, well, would you rather drill for it and be mildly inconvenienced once every few years, or would potentially, when that 20-story wave come in, would you trust and hope that somebody else can organize your escape for you? Ooh, I don't know. I don't know who I would put my faith in with that.
But anyways, I have a little bit of time to prepare for it, but yeah.
But anyways, these are all stories kind of centering around Japan and stuff. So yesterday, Blizzard of all companies came out, and because of a certain event that happened in the States recently with a crazy person, who these. A lot of people wonder why the States has such violence and weird things that happen. And it's mostly, I think, due to the fact that they don't have any more insane asylums. Most every country has insane asylums where they put the really crazy people, and people get they get, if your Uncle Joe starts acting really weird and saying weird stuff, you normally would call the police and be like, or his doctor and be like, hey, Joe's saying some really, messed up stuff. Not government bad, but really messed up stuff, stuff. I don't want to get us demonetized.
Well, I think we should not speculate about this, but
yeah, but I mean, it's just that's my 2 cents on that. It's just that I think asylums were for people who really needed professional help, and I don't think they get that anymore. So that's sad. It's very sad.
Asylums were also very
they were really spotty
in a lot of ways.
Yeah, well, again, it's a tightrope. You have to walk the tightrope. But just because one side goes off to the boonies every once in a while doesn't mean that you need to cut it off completely. It's just you have to rein it in. That's all it really, rein in both sides. That's typically just how you work. But at any rate, sorry, I keep digressing.
Chaos.
So Moon, I don't even think I brought this up to you last night. Oh no, wait, you got it up on the screen there. So Activision yesterday says, hey, at Activision, we condemn racism in its strongest possible terms. Our mission is to connect and blah, 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 corporate speech, chest puffing. Look at how awesome I am. Hashtag stop Asian hate, hashtag stop API hate. This coming from a company that banned Blitzchung, fired the 2 broadcasters for daring to suggest that violence against a particular set of Asian people was not cool and should be stopped.
I've got your Twitter response up here on the screen as well. Yes, so
I went through about 20 iterations of that tweet trying to figure out. My first one was like, okay, that's probably too far. I compared them to a certain group of bad guys you usually fight in COD or World War II things, and then I was like, okay, no, that's a little too crazy. Gotta step it back. Gotta be somewhat reasonable and also not get too angry about it. But yeah, so I wrote, can't agree with this more. I have, as in we have family in Hong Kong, and I remember very vividly that this company said about defending Asians then. Do we not matter to you? And so again, I'm trying to phrase that in the sense that does Hong Kong not matter to these people? Do other ethnic Asian groups who are currently under, what many have said,
Domination and
yeah,
authoritarianism. Yeah, no, they just want a virtue signal. They just want to.
yeah,
They just want to have a corporate slogan. They don't.
It's all pandering.
Like I don't want to say that everyone at Activision Blizzard, it's not to say that the individuals who work for Activision Blizzard
we know
are not.
We know that the employees, and this is the only reason why I continue to play in any level, which I haven't been playing recently. I've stopped playing most Blizzard games, but this is why we try to have join the voices that are in protest against this company. We are trying to engage with them on some level, because really, when you boil it down, it's like there are still good people who are very upset about this who work at the company.
Yes.
And they don't believe that Blizzard should be doing this kind of stuff. They don't believe that Blizzard should be, saying these kinds of things and then just kind of like, trying to pass it off as a, oh yeah, this is what we always believe.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're just pandering right now.
They're just trying to get, they're just trying to get that Twitter street cred. They're just trying to get those likes and that virtue signaling cred, but they're very inconsistent. As you've pointed out, them and many other big game publishers are very inconsistent, not just time-wise, but also in regions of the world. They will, they'll pander about something over here in North America, but then in some regime where that view is not so acceptable, they'll pull back on that and they'll follow the status quo over there. So it's inconsistent, and if your principles are not consistent, they're not principles. This is just, and so I just get fed up when I see any business as a business taking a stance. It's like, first of all, a business is not a moral entity. The people that work for a business are, and they all have their own individual opinions. But then as a business, no, they'll just take whatever moral stance suits them at the time and that they think will earn them money. Because if they can go to Saudi Arabia, Russia, China, and bend their principles a little bit to earn a bit of money, they will totally do that. Absolutely. Anyway, let's move on from that messiness to some different messiness.
So sorry again, we do apologize.
Well,
for
you know what? I don't care. No,
stuff, but you're right. We don't apologize.
No, as far as the Hong Kong stuff, as far as the sporting Hong Kong stuff, I don't care. We have listeners from Hong Kong who have written us expressing their appreciation that we've talked about this before, and
we're never sad about supporting people who, again, family and people who are in need, and calling it out. We do hate that it tends to lean a little politically, and that kind of sucks. Again, we're not trying to stump for any particular.
I personally don't see basic human rights like not being crushed and oppressed by an authoritarian governing body. I don't see that as a political issue personally. I see that as a moral, ethical issue.
It's these times that I love turning on the audio lines from oh crap, what's his name? The Prime robot from Fallout 3. Liberty Prime. I kept wanting to say Optimus Prime, but I'm like, no, wrong one. He sold out to China too. But it's I love turning on like Liberty Prime in the background. Just have him like stomp around the house. It's great, but I know it can sometimes feel a little heavy, sad stuff.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Turns out that 50 people being laid off was not just 50 people. Turns out it's more like 200 it's fine. You you just got to think about it like this: the guy in charge got $1 million per person that he fired, so he fired 200. It's just the way that it goes. I mean, it's
Nice
not like
clean number. Yep.
nice clean number. It's not like these live events are worthwhile things to invest in right now, unless of course you're Sony, which we'll get to a little bit later again. So what again? Like my head is spinning with the frustration.
Well, let me just clarify one thing. Bobby Kotick, CEO of Blizzard. It's not that he got money for firing people. It's just a case of very interesting timing. The Bobby Kotick, it is just atrocious timing, especially as far as a news headline that Bobby Kotick's pocketing $200 million at the same time that again between 50 to 200 more people are being laid off by Blizzard. And yeah, it was originally being reported as 50 people, but it's sounding like it's more like 200 people. So, and again, as Blizzard has increasing profits throughout, this past couple of years, and there may be a number of reasons for it, but this is not the first time that they've been posting record profits and also laying a whole bunch of people off. So,
well, he's just again they have to get that that extra yacht. How is he not? He's bought a brand new yacht every 6 months for the last 10 years. Do you really expect him not to get that extra yacht?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those things are like the super deluxe version has it has a boat within a boat. I mean, it's a boat inside another boat. How can you not pay for that? I mean, you just got to do it, right?
Mm-hmm. Now, Activision Blizzard's...
I'm being facetious, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. But Activision Blizzard's investors are apparently not actually very happy with Bobby Kotick's bonus that he's getting. Now, they're not some of the headlines have been referencing the layoffs, but they're not actually upset about the layoffs. They're just upset about the bonus that they're having to pay. They're not certain that Mr. Kotick actually deserves it. To clarify, the bonus that he's getting is connected to his employment agreement that took effect 5 years ago. His 2016 contract. So this isn't a new thing. This was something that was in his contract from 2016 and was triggered on March 1st of this year. Something about performance bonuses. He gets a certain award because of how the company's doing. But the investors are not convinced that the company's actually doing well because of Bobby's leadership. They think there are many factors that contribute to, the increasing stock price, including with the pandemic and the lockdowns and a lot of people turning to video games for entertainment. They think that might be a big factor of it. As they say, irrespective of executive talent or strategic decisions. So they're not happy about paying that out necessarily, but again, it doesn't really have anything to do with the layoffs. That it's not like the investors are sitting there going like, "Oh, all these people lost their jobs." You may have seen this.
Again, I love how because again, there's been no real leadership at Blizzard for the last several years. The leadership has left. They've quit. They've walked away. Because they don't have the ability to make the decisions that they want to make. Their hands are tied. Corporate, tells them, hey, keep making us hundreds of billions of dollars. Hey, we really need to upgrade our team here. We're sitting with a very small staff. We need to hire another 1,000 developers would be good. If we could just hire another 1,000 and get them working on other stuff. And then the big bosses are like, no, excuse me, you make us all this money, and again, they make $1 billion in profit typically every year at a minimum, for the usually multiple billions. But this has been going on for well over a decade. And for well over a decade, their biggest IP has been sitting with basically a skeleton crew. What if you were to take that that game and you were to like expand that out to any other video game company and compare their team sizes, you would say, wow, you guys are extremely understaffed. Like extremely understaffed. Like pathetically understaffed for development and like the goals and like what you as the company want to be doing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's like you are incredibly understaffed for this. Why don't you guys have more money? Why don't you have more team members working on this content? And that's the biggest complaint, is the fact that content is so dry. It's why 50% of subscribers have stopped playing World of Warcraft right now, because there's no new content. There hasn't been any new content since since fall last year. Fall last year. And we're not going to get a new content until spring. So you go an entire winter without any new content, without any new story bits, without any, and the stuff that was coming out before, like last time, was drip fed. So it's like why on earth and how on earth are you at this point where you're running an entire massive company that basically requires this big team, but you're running it off essentially a skeleton crew? You've been doing it for decades, for over a decade now, not multiple decades, but you've been doing this for over a decade now, and you're wondering why, like, oh, why are things getting bad for the company? It's like, gee, I wonder. And during the time again where it's like this is where you really want to be hiring people, you really, I mean, you could be signing people up for contract, like long contracts for I mean, again, don't abuse your employees, but you could be hiring a bunch of people on right now for pretty cheap. You could be relocating, setting up a new office in a place where it's really cheap to get access to, and then having a lot of people just work distance. Like, there's so many. It's such a good time right now for big companies that have deep pockets to go and start to do some additional restructuring, because right now it's really cheap to, like, you can hire a bunch of people basically over the phone, and then you can start getting them working on stuff again basically over the phone, and you can grab up some property. Right now they're talking about how like big office buildings in New York are basically being like, what's the term, like gutted, I guess you could say. Like, people are just not interested in working in office buildings right now. And they've realized that about 50% of the workers that have been at home right now because of the whole COVID thing, they think about roughly about half of them are more productive than they were when they were in the office buildings. So right now, at the very minimum, you will see most companies, they'll start to do like a number crunch thing. Do we really need to pay, $250,000 a month or a year or whatever, depending on the size of what kind of space you're renting, for an office, when we can cut that, in half or less, and then just go with people who are skilled from working from home? Like, this is a serious discussion that's starting to happen. Now, is it going to stay this way once everything reopens? I don't know. Well, will everything reopen? Like, we don't know. But right now is arguably a great time to figure this stuff out, to really get everybody together to have these big discussions, and to see, whether or not this is what you as the company want to do.
Didn't they just announce they were planning to do a bunch of hiring, and then next thing we hear is that they're laying off a bunch of people? It's very confusing.
So they have said that they're going to be doing some hiring, but again, we don't see them moving on this. Not really well. The thing that they're hiring for is they're hiring for a new game. So they're working on a new IP. Don't hold your breath for this one, guys. this new Blizzard IP is an FPS. Oh, wow. Like there are two other FPSs that are at the top, of their company's profile, one of which is struggling. Like, why are you guys working on yet another FPS? Like, at the very least, that just bites into your other two IPs. Like, you have a.
It's not Overwatch 2 then.
No,
they've got a new IP coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, completely new IP. No, the Overwatch 2 is being run by the Overwatch team. The Overwatch team is not working on Overwatch anymore, but more or less. They're working on Overwatch 2. And Blizzard is hiring new team members to join a different team that's working on another new IP, which is also a shooter. So it's like, okay, so what kind of a shooter? Because you guys have the COD, and then you also have the Overwatch. What else are you going to bring to the table? And at this point, I'm thinking either they're bringing a StarCraft something, which I mean wouldn't necessarily be a new IP, might be an existing IP, you'd think. But I mean, just generally, I'm looking at this and I'm going, okay, another new shooter. Their last new IP was a shooter, so like, it's really weird, and I don't think this is beneficial to anybody. I really don't. I believe that this is largely a bad move for what will end up being most people who are into gaming through like Blizzard games. I really don't think it's a good move. I think that they're running a risk of oversaturating their market. Plus, it's also that I mean, FPS is sort of like a baseline thing, right? It's like a baseline genre of gaming, but we have seen baseline genres disappear overnight. Like just not hold its popularity at all. And so I have to ask, is there a chance? And again, highly unlikely with FPS. FPS is sort of like, again, it's a staple of gaming. But let's just say, for argument's sake, let's say in a year, some company comes out with a new genre that basically replaces FPS games.
Well, it's not only Blizzard that would suffer from that if that were to happen.
Yeah, a lot of companies would, and we have seen this happen in the past. We have seen staple games in the gaming industry just suddenly disappear off the side of a cliff, and excuse me, and is that something that's going to is if that happens here and you've put all your eggs in one basket, I mean, oof, right?
That would be.
You think the layoffs are bad now? Wait until 90% of your portfolio has suddenly dropped off the side of the planet. It's like, what do you do at that point? Well, you basically file for bankruptcy.
I do think that's a pretty unlikely scenario. I mean, it's always. I mean, getting into investing in any new game it has some risk factor to it, because
but I'm saying that no genre is ever safe. Like the amount, like how many times have we seen we've seen the gaming industry crash before, and we've seen multiple things that were staples of the gaming industry just bottom out. We saw it we saw it in the 80s crash. We saw it again in the 2D crash when 3D came in. Again, it's one of these questions that I'm asking. Is there a chance that something might just go poof one day, and suddenly FPSs are not all the rage that they have been for literally decades? And is there any chance of that happening? It's probably very remote, but it has happened before. That's my argument, is that it's happened before. So why risk it?
Well, I guess that's a fair argument, I suppose. I get I don't think that specifically pertains to Blizzard, though. Like, there's a lot
Yeah,
of
no,
companies that bank on that.
It's not, but it is weird that they're instead of branching out into any of the other big fields that they have, any of the other big IPs that they have, like, why a new FPS?
I mean, that's a good question just from a design. Like, that's not their... I mean, Overwatch was quite popular for a while. I don't think it nearly has the player base that it once had.
No,
but
it does not have the player base.
But
It has
really,
been struggling.
the RTS is where Blizzard really in the past, what that was their strong suit. I wonder why they're not focusing more on that. But anyway, you may have seen this headline. This is a little misleading, but it's kind of funny. Blizzard fires dozens of employees and pays them in Battle.net gift cards.
Yep.
That's it's a little misleading because they are getting severance and health benefits for 90 days. Like, they're getting a proper severance package along with $200 in Battle.net gift cards. But I mean, aren't you just going to be eager to spend that $200 on games from the company that just canned your ass? Like
they could have even made them like those whatever gift credit card things. But no, they're like, no, here's a gift card that you're just going to give back to us.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to spend too much more time talking about Blizzard, but on the I just want to play devil's advocate for one quick sec. What are you going to say, Cyb and Moon, to the people that say, "Oh, well, this is just business. Sometimes you have to fire people, and live events are not really happening right now, so we have to get rid of that department." What's your response to that?
I have a question. Do you know how to do math? If so, you need to review.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it's like other companies are investing right now heavily into things because, again, this is a great time to buy up stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like live events. There's tons of live event stuff where, again, somebody might say, "Oh, but it's so expensive doing these giant stages and doing this, that, and the other thing." It's like, well, maybe that big thing that you're thinking of, maybe that's not necessary. Maybe as I can't remember who the name of the fellow. Darn it. The dude, the guy, the dude, right? He goes,
no
yeah, I know. He goes, these big events, does League of Legends really need to rent out these super stadiums and host these enormous events and create this amazing floor show and then add in this ARG dragon that flies around the stadium? Do they really need to add that to maintain their brand? Maybe they do. And maybe to maintain a brand, you actually do need these big events. Maybe you need way more smaller events. Maybe you need to flood the market with just people who are ready and excited to get into all of the other stuff, right? Maybe this is something that you have to do to maintain and to build these super brands. And by Blizzard just walking away, maybe we're not going to see that at all. And if that's the case, then, if they're walking away from this, then this is spelling the beginning of the end for them. They just don't know it yet.
Right.
It's like cutting off a main no, I don't think that example works.
No, fair enough. But I mean, if you invest in your community, then
and that's what they're
players
pulling out of right now.
Yeah, but if people invest in your community as a game company, then they turn around and spend money on your stuff. And we have, that's even something we've discovered here at the Triple S League. Nice segue, Ash. Thank you. But I asked our Patreon supporters and like channel members, the people who actually support us directly financially, I asked them the other day, what do you come here for? What is it that made you want to support a couple of nerds who do this random podcast? Number one answer is community. The community that we've built, which we had no idea how, what it was going to turn into when we started it, but it's become something amazing. So check it out if you want. Links in the description below. And thank you to all of our Patreon supporters and channel members and others whose names you see appearing in gold at the top of the screen throughout the podcast. You are listening to the Augmented Reality Podcast. And I've already plugged the Discord server, so I don't need to do that. But yeah, click the link below. And Polly's too. Yeah, that's why I boost the Discord. Yes, I appreciate that very, very, very much. Polly's also says... why would anyone go and work for Activision at this point? That's a very good question. I think when every news story is about you firing people, that can't be good for your recruitment prospects. Kisuke also says, firing people should not be anywhere near the first choice. That was in response to my little devil's advocate question of saying, well, someone might say, oh, it's just business. Sometimes you got to fire people. Well, do you actually, is there nothing else those people could do? And of course we had that situation, was it last year or was it 2019, where they fired a whole bunch of people or laid off a whole bunch of people to save costs, and then were rehiring those same positions for much less money. Yeah.
Which again, you could say is a shrewd business, maneuver. And sure, I would do the same thing if I were doing a startup company that was struggling for cash. Like, you'd be kind of stupid not to, because you run the risk of losing your company. But right now, what they're risking the loss of isn't, it's not, they're not running the risk of losing their company. They're running the risk of losing their brain, right? The people who make their company work. Mm-hmm. And by taking, we hear this from BioWare. It's like, we are losing and we are missing out on our mentors in the company. And if you can't foster mentors within the company, you're going to lose your company at some point down the road.
It's like saying, I want to lose I want to lose 20 pounds, so I'll cut my arm off.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what they're doing here. They're taking a dump on their future to say, hey, look at how much money we saved this month. Oh yes, we are saving so much money. Look at our profits soar. But you just sold all of our factories. I've had this conversation with somebody before. I got in a big heated argument, this was many years ago, with this guy who was like, it doesn't matter if we sell off everything. See how much money we're making. And I'm like, no, you idiot. This is what makes us money. He's like, no, it's not. We can make money anytime. All we have to do is go and borrow some money, and then we can start making more money. And I'm like, you don't understand this. How do you not understand this? If we sell everything that we have to produce anything, and we have no value in our inherent ability to produce anything, what happens? A lot of people are probably thinking this is what they think it is. It's not. It was a different conversation. They're like, but it stands. But the same thing stands. Like it's the logical, coherent argument of, if you sell everything that you have, and then you go to the bank and say, hey, I'd like to borrow a bunch of money to start working on plant my seeds for the season again. Well, what are you going to plant them with? Well, yeah. Can I also get a loan for a tractor? Now I'm doing a farming analogy. And then I also need money to put up a fence, because I sold the fence too. And there's a whole bunch of deer that tend to eat up my any seeds I put down. The bank's going to look at you and go, oh, this is a really bad investment. We're basically carrying all of the risk. What's your collateral? Well, we don't have any. Okay, you're not getting a loan. Like, this is ultimately what ends up happening. And I'm standing here yelling at these idiots making these decisions, going, are you wasting everything? And I don't know. Maybe this is the smart move. Maybe in 10 years we're going to have Activision is going to be on the most valuable video game company there is. But I really doubt it.
Highly doubtful.
Because they've been getting rid of everything that makes them money.
All right. We have spent too much time talking about Blizzard, so let's move on. Let's see here. So while Blizzard is pulling out of the live events game, Sony is investing in it. EVO, the gaming sports tournament organization, they have been co-purchased by PlayStation Sony Interactive Entertainment and RTS. So Sony's going. Yeah, this is just a small thing we wanted to highlight because it's been, it's a big move from Sony to be investing in this, and so live esports. I mean, it doesn't appear to be going anywhere. So why Blizzard would think this is a good time to pull out of that, I'm not sure. As a follow-up to the hashtag EAGate scandal, we had a content creator that responded to EA's claim that everyone can get all the players they desire without spending any money on FIFA Ultimate Team. That's their claim, okay? You don't have to spend money. You don't have to put money into the microtransactions. It's optional. And this is coming on the heels of course, the big scandal of somebody within the company, employees within EA, making a little dough on the side by sort of giving people players under the table for some coin. So, Scuds TV went and said, "Here's my FIFA Dream Team, and here are the options for getting this team. Option 1, play games. 100 million coins of gameplay. Assuming an average of 1,500 coins per game, accounting for weekly rewards, that's a mere 66,666 games. Very applicable number to EA, I think. At an average of 20 minutes a game, well, that's a mere 22,000 hours of gameplay, or 916 days of non-stop gameplay between, what is that, like 2.5 years? Something like that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Of playing non-stop, no bathroom breaks, no, you're eating at your game console, just playing for 3 years solid. Okay. Is it realistic? No. Option 2, monitoring the market for 100 million coins of trading. So I'll just summarize this one. I would need to trade for 1,650 hours or 69 days of trading. And that's assuming he can make the required 10,000 coins per profit on each trade.
Yeah.
Or the final option is you actually spend money and at a cost of £80 per 12k in-game coins. He'll be spending about £80,000, which is, I don't know what that is in US dollars, probably over 100,000. So
yeah,
lots of money. You need to understand the options you put in front of your community do not allow everyone to achieve whatever they desire in your game within reasonable limits. You have put the high-end content behind an extreme paywall or an unachievable time wall. So, yeah. So anyway, EA either can't do math, like Moon was saying, or they're just straight up lying, which I imagine. Like, yes, is this technically possible? Sure. Maybe if you have access to a time machine or some sort of time warping freezing device. If you've got a TARDIS, yeah, maybe. Is it technically possible? And I mean, don't forget, like you're playing for 2.5 years for a game that renews every year. Like the content changes. Like it's, this is so. The fact that EA thought they could, sorry, bumped my microphone there. That EA thought they could get away with this in the age of the internet. These companies just seem to forget. We have the internet. There is an infinite army of nerds out there who will take you to task on every claim you make.
Mm-hmm.
So dumb. Anyway, on to some better news. So there was a GTA Online player who is a skilled modder and knows some stuff about doing fancy stuff with games and hardware. Anyway, he managed to figured out a way to reduce load times for GTA Online by 70%. And he got a nice $10,000 payout from it. So this just
That's good. I would hope that again, maybe the guy has a full-time job, maybe this is just his side gig and he just likes doing this on the side. But somebody like this is who you offer a job to.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, why not? Like it's so shocking sometimes. It's like, why wouldn't you offer this job? Like, why wouldn't you go out of your way to say, son, you got some potential? And sure, again, maybe maybe he's not interested. But this is the thing where again, only a handful of companies are really understanding the value of modders, of the community, helping them and assisting them. This sometimes means that you need to create incentives, and congratulations, they did here. I'll give them that. Good job. They created an incentive that will spur others onto maybe doing the same thing. But again, if you accidentally say that you're working on a mod to port, something to something that happens to be something that they think they can, monetize sometime in the future, then you're going to be facing down some legal action. Most likely just to scare you, but still.
We are not big fans of Rockstar's parent company because of some of their actions against modders and content creators. But anyway, I mean, credit where credit's due. So he got, at least they didn't just take his idea and leave him in the dust. They did give him a payout through their bug bounties program. They have some sort of a program where I'm not sure if it's you find a bug and report it to them, or find a fix for a bug and report it. I don't know how it works exactly. Oh, it's a program. It mostly focuses on security fixes, but they made an exception, and we're like, yeah, this is worth some dollars for finding this fix. So anyway, and good on the modder who figured that out. So we're going to talk Cyberpunk, the new Cyberpunk 2077 patch in just a minute, and how it's actually implementing some gameplay fixes in addition to bug squashing. Like, we had heard that update version 1.2 was going to address a lot of the technical issues, but they're also changing some game systems. So stay tuned for that in a sec. But first, we're going to talk about everybody's favorite online store, the Epic Games Store. So, open the wrong tab there. Just spoiled my joke. But anyway, the Epic Games Store. Now, I don't Screen Rant's on a roll with the misleading headlines today, but so Epic Games, this says Epic Games Store takes on Discord with new parties feature. Now, I don't consider adding voice chat to your gaming store really a huge step towards competing with Discord. They'd have to go, Discord's gone way beyond that. Way beyond just the voice chat features to really being a base where you can establish an entire community with all kinds of things. So I wouldn't take it that far. They'd have to add a lot more features to really compete with Discord.
Yes.
But they're adding they're adding this new parties feature, which brings in voice chat and communication. They want to try and build a community thing there. But There's still no shopping cart. It may actually come this year. You're still, if you know, so
Forced to buy one at a time.
if you want to game with all your friends with that new shiny new voice feature, you're still having to buy the games one at a time and risking getting your account blocked for potential fraud.
Yeah.
Because, you're buying multiple games from one store at the same time. Who would have thought? Like, nobody does that. Come on. Buying more than one game
At a time, several times a day.
Mm-hmm. So, yes.
Yeah, I went to Vegas once, and I, on my way back, I got a call from my credit card company, and they're like, "Hey, we noticed some suspicious activity on your card. You went to Vegas, you bought a bunch of stuff." I was like, "Yeah, no, I went to Vegas. I called you guys, like, a few weeks ago and said, hey, I'm on my way to Vegas. Just so you know, I my car's not stolen. I'm going to Vegas, and they're like, yeah, well, we just need to confirm all of your purchases. I'm like, all of them? She's like, yeah, they were all flagged as suspicious, so we have to clarify all of them. Well, I was there for like a while, and there was a lot of things going on, and and it was like, it was a lot of purchases, and I did put them all on the credit card because it was just easy, convenience. But I had to go through every single one of them with this person on the phone, and I had to confirm every single one of them, and they had to get me saying that each one was confirmed. That $1 bottle of water that I bought, then that $5 hot dog that I bought, and on 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 it went. It was ridiculous. So
Wow.
yeah,
Well,
who knew?
I appreciate that they are careful about stuff like that, but
True. And I would have been more upset if somebody had stolen my card and they didn't flag those as suspicious. But still, it is one of those scenarios where it's like, well, what do you do in this case? Yeah, so annoying.
Anyway, yes. That's right, Dustin. Still no add to cart.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's just bring that off the screen because I have a feeling this one's going to become a video clip on the site, so I'm just going to have a nice clean intro to it here. Yes, cyberpunk.net. I know your site uses cookies. Thank you. Cyberpunk 2077 patch version 1.2 is coming very soon. When? Don't exactly know. When it's ready, maybe, or maybe when it's 60% ready, as the case may be with CDPR recently. Sorry, had to get that jab in there. Anyway, we knew the patch was going to be bringing in a lot of technical fixes, especially on consoles, and it should improve performance overall. But the company's recently revealed that they're going to be actually changing and improving some gameplay systems, and so I wanted to have a discussion about this and see how much you think this is going to improve the game. So I want to hear from not only Cyb and Moon, but also those of you in the live chat. Tell us what you think. They are seemingly making a concerted effort to show that they are trying to fix the game. Is this going to bring you back into playing it? Are you going to wait longer, wait for some of the DLC, that kind of a thing? Let us know in the live chat if you're listening on YouTube or on Twitch right now. And we'll read out some of your comments in a sec. But first of all, here is what's actually coming in the patch 1.2. According to this patch 1.2 development update, as far as I know, it doesn't say in here when the patch is actually coming. Supposedly sometime this month, but who knows? It's already been delayed once. So,
yeah, I wouldn't hold my breath for it, unfortunately.
Yeah. Police AI is apparently being fixed. So the NCPD, it'd be funny. You know what? There'd be so you're walking down the streets of Night City, you come across some thugs trying to mug somebody or attacking somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you decide to be the hero. You step in and you take down the bad guys. but one of your bullets accidentally hits one of the assault victims. 2 seconds later, the NCPD cops and drones are right behind you.
Phase into reality. I mean, I don't see why people had a problem with this. You know, they're on the transporter pad and they look at Scotty and they're like, "Beam us down, sir." And I think I just discovered why people are having an issue with this. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, see, yeah, the police would just spawn out of nowhere, but where were they for the mugging? I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to stop the mugging, and they're all over your ass, but yes, it was kind of ridiculous. So they're fixing that. That's a fair point, Pharmanick, that they're not necessarily making a change to the AI, but they're just spawning farther away. But with the added distance, like, are they immediately going to be running at you? I don't know. There may be some AI tweaks in there. We'll have to actually try it out to see, I suppose. So anyway, that's one thing that people have been complaining about. So to their credit, CDPR is trying to implement a fix for that, and hopefully a really good fix happens down the road. I mean, the AI needs a bit of an overhaul, and I hope that when the next gen version releases later this year, if that's still coming this year, who knows? Hopefully the AI gets overhauled a little bit. Dustin says NCPD is really abusing that drop-in, drop-out feature that Cyberpunk has, huh? Yes, good one.
That's a good one, and very true. Very true. You know, this was an area of contention for us. Like, we got the news that they were doing the multiplayer, and we dropped it like a long time ago. Albeit stuff like this changes from time to time. You know, you can't avoid some of that stuff. But it came at a really horrible time down the road, because, you know, it was like, oh yeah, then we're moving it to be its own game, which at this point now we're looking at that and going, I don't know if I want that.
Fix this one first. Yeah,
fix this one first. Now, it is, to be fair, it is a different wing of CDPR who is supposedly working on that. They are going to be moving some people over, so there might be some delay on that, but, you know, we'll see.
Pharmanick says, I think with time this fix will be improved too, but I appreciate they're taking a step forward. Me too. Keisuke says, I'll probably wait another half a year before getting back into it. You know, I'm kind of the same there. I was really enjoying it. I was on my second playthrough. I was really enjoying it. But then just that one day just put it down and haven't gone back, and have been playing other things. And I am interested in getting back to it, but the world is it's not very open. You know, it's open, but it's not like it is a lot more linear than
you wanted it to be.
I wanted it to be. I don't know exactly how to explain, but you know what? I think I had too much Johnny Silverhand. Like, he's just always there. You know, you can't even after finishing the storyline, you can't go back into the game in a state where he's not there and just explore Night City anymore. And some of his commentary is funny, but it's like, he's always there. Just always. You never get away from him. Anyway, so they're also improving driving AI, apparently. So that's what I gather from this. Anyway, it says vehicular manslaughter statistics higher than ever. So they're trying to cut down on roadkill. I guess the driving AI is going to be improved, and they're inputting a new mechanism for when your vehicle gets stuck on something, that you can get back on track, but get back on the road. The system apparently allows drivers to rotate or rock their vehicles back and forth in order to regain traction. This, you know, I had never thought about this.
Because it's so realistic.
I mean, it's not at all realistic, but the number of times that I got my car stuck and where the wheels were not in contact with anything, so I couldn't move the car at all.
Mm-hmm.
It happened like I have some funny videos of it. Got stuck in like corners of walls, like with my little my car. All four corners of the car pressed up against, and the wheels just spinning, or, getting stuck, propped up on a concrete barrier. So what do? I just leave the car behind, run 100 meters down the road, and then call my vehicle again. I mean, I just gotten used to doing that. Actually getting the car out of that situation, I'd never even thought of them implementing a solution. I just kind of thought it was like, oh, this is what you get for being a dumb driver. Because it usually happens when I'm screaming down the road a little too fast and trying to take a turn too sharply. But anyway, that's cool. That's going to be a good fix. And then update your neural processors, drivers, or die. So this is this is funny. So just over the last month, authorities recorded nearly 4,000 fatal accidents caused by a neuroprocessor glitch, causing users to dodge without intending to. Dodging off cliffs or into traffic or whatever. And yeah, I never did that, but the number of times where I was in stealth mode and just trying to like finally adjust where I was standing, so I'd tap the button a couple of times, and then my character would dodge right out into the open. And
this is a problem with many games. This is not exclusive to them. This is not an exclusive problem to CDPR's game. There are many puzzle games. I remember one in particular where you had to climb up like very tall, complex mazes, right? So you make one step, you fall and you die, and then you have to run back to your body, resurrect. Then you have to like get up, climb up all the way up to the top of this thing, and then try and make that jump again. And in this game, of course, they had a roll feature, which allowed you to roll out of the way with a button. But it also worked if you double tapped, and the roll button could be disabled, but the double tap could not. So if you were fine tuning your character's position, you're like, tap once forward. And then if you pressed, heaven forbid, you press that move forward tap again within the next 2 seconds, your character would roll right off the thing, right to their death. You'd be screaming at your screen, and then you'd have the 20-minute run back to try it again. Because this was an online game. And you just love to see it, right? You love it so much. It's so wonderful. It's so wonderful, y'all, trying to, do this nonstop and potentially, strangling yourself or, other things that we shall not talk about here. It's great fun, isn't it?
Well, now you can turn the double tapping control off now in the control settings with the new update. And then the dodge action can still be performed by double tapping the crouch action key, which seems really awkward, but it also sounds like they are opening up the key bindings a bit. And you'll be able to move the WASD bindings to something else and various things like that, which was, again, that was another thing when the game first launched. There were just certain keys you couldn't rebind. It was really frustrating because I use a separate keypad as when I'm gaming, just for ergonomics and ease of use and stuff like that. But I mean, how many of us have gaming mice and we want to bind certain things to various keys, and it just wouldn't let us. So yes. So that's going to be I'm glad they're opening that up quite a bit. Let's see here. Some comments from the chat. Kisuke says, the game is really good at making you feel like a schizophrenic. Yes. Yes, indeed.
Agree. Dustin Pease says, I want that stupid migraine feature to be removed and only want it to happen in key points in the story. I can agree with that because it's annoying when I'm running, I'm doing something, and then suddenly my character is like, "Oh no!" And I was like, "No, no, we have to go to the place. What are you doing?"
Yeah, at first it didn't bother me. It was kind of part of the pressure of the story, pushing the story
Right.
forward. But after a while, it got really annoying.
It's disruptive. It's
Agreed.
kind of like you want sprinkles of this, not like have the cap fall off and the entire content spill all over it.
Especially since there is no actual time limit, as far as I know. If there is, I don't know. I don't think anyone's hit it yet. But yeah, you can play the game forever, and you're slowly dying, but you'll never die until you trigger the end game.
Which is weird. I mean, let's face it. I like games that have that time limit because, especially when it's good, like it has a really good replay feature. And I mean, Fallout 2 does this probably the best of any game ever, where they did that situation where it's like, look, you got a time limit here, buddy. We're all going to die of thirst in approximately 100 days. You got to find a solution for this. And I would face that game over, and then I would face it, and then restart or, backload it. And I don't know, personally, I like that. I know it's not as popular of a thing to do today, but I still think that options like that give the game and give the experience, right? Give an experience that's cool, that's interesting, that's unique. Yeah.
Speaking of stories and experiences, Dorian Gray says, ironically, the best playing experience in Cyberpunk is right at the beginning. You can clear out Watson and play at will before you can even start the story, and no dumb relic malfunction. Yeah.
Indeed. Where they do use the relic malfunction really well is if you do the game's secret ending path and you do the solo attack on Arasaka Tower. I don't think it's a spoiler anymore this long after release to talk about that, but they actually, like, the chip does slowly malfunction more and more as you make your way through that final mission. And in fact, your max health actually reduces. Like, you can only heal up to 70%, and then 60%, and then 50% by the time you're in one of the final boss fights. So, that I thought was really cool, but for the rest of it, yeah, I got really tired of it. Especially when they're pushing you forward like that, but in the back of your head that there really is no time limit. It breaks immersion for me.
The thing that's I think really annoying with this is that, again, we see this every time this happens. Somebody creates what is essentially an open world game, and then you get to the end, and they're like, "Oh, congratulations, you've beaten the game! Isn't this wonderful?" And you're like, "No, okay, well, yeah, I mean, it's cool and all, but I was kind of really hoping to continue playing the game." Why would you want to continue playing the game? Because I really, I like playing the game. That's why I bought your product, was to play it. But, sir, you've completed the game. There's no need for you to continue to play the game. What? How preposterous is this? It's crazy. Go back and do something else now.
Yeah, right. One of the worst examples was Fallout 3, honestly.
I was just going to mention this because in Fallout 3, it's not like you had an enormous number of people who were like, hello, I want to keep playing the game, and they had to patch in that fix to satisfy a bunch of very angry gamers who were like, WTF, why did my game end? Oh, well, we didn't realize that you wanted to keep playing our game. It's like, what? How? Who do you have making these decisions?
It surprised me, and I mean, like, technically you can continue playing Cyberpunk after finishing it, but you have to reload before you pass the point of no return mission. I thought that was a very poor design choice to make in this era of gaming.
And again, it's not like this is new information. This is not new information.
No,
this is information that has been around for a very long time, that gamers like to continue playing their open world RPGs. Shocker, I know. But again, this has been around. This is not a new decision by any stretch of the imagination. This is not a new concept. And the fact that you have to remind these companies that this is not a new concept is frankly shocking. Again.
There's a comment from Polly's. This is what I like about Outriders. They will let you replay a full story at any chapter at any point. That sounds pretty.
Even one that you just finished, you can be like, oh, hey, cool. I want to replay that mission. It was quite fun. It's just stuff like that. I wish like I can't wait for the next evolution of open world maps with like infinite replayability. It's coming. It's probably still a few years away, but it is coming. It's getting there. It's getting there.
All right. And if you're listening after the fact, let us know in the comments if this new update is going to bring you back into the game, or if you're still going to wait a while, how you feel about the ways that CDPR is working to improve the game, in addition to all the technical fixes. Still don't know when patch 1.2 is going to come out. It's supposed to be coming sometime this month, as we said earlier, but who really knows? All right, that's all.
The nose knows.
The nose knows.
Because the nose always knows.
I think the shadow knows. So,
right.
That's all for news.
10 points if you know where that's from. Like, seriously.
That's all for news stories, but there was a couple of interesting discussion questions that some of our Discord members posed in the content requests channel. By the way, you can go there anytime on the Discord server and post things you'd like us to talk about. So I just thought we'd talk about these quickly to wrap up the show. So, a couple of opinion questions, really. So feel free to post your thoughts in the chat about all of these. Sunglare asks, cash shops in subscription-based MMOs, yes or no?
Ugh, no.
No.
I get so sick of that in games. It's like, well, it's just extra. It's like, no, I have a subscription service for this. If you are so gung ho to give us the option to like continue playing the game with more added customization, open it up for modders. I can't. There's been multiple companies that have done this well. Sadly, I don't think that one game is Warframe. Warframe was a great game. It implemented player-created content really, really well. It implemented really smart ways of monetization, and whenever they found that people were suffering from, abusing a system or using it too much, they would disengage the system, and they would come out and say, "We're sorry. This turned out to be way more microtransaction-y and way more made a lot more people dependent on this kind of system, and we don't want to do that. We don't feel that this is the right thing to do for gaming. And congratulations, you guys had a spine. Beautiful, amazing, wonderful. But just seeing it in games, and then I really don't think that they got bought out, and I think it's a really, really bad move for them. Really, really terrible. I don't foresee a good future with Warframe anymore, just due to who bought them out and why. I hate to say it, but that's my thoughts on that.
Okay, but I'm inclined to agree. If you're paying a subscription for a game, why should there be a cash shop? That doesn't. I mean, yeah, it's. on the one hand, there's an argument for paying a little more for something extra, but still, it seems kind of skeezy when you're already paying a subscription for it. You already have an ongoing payment you're making, and they have an ongoing form of income. So why not just give you regular updates every month?
Exactly.
Right.
All right. Sunglare also asks about play nice policies. For example, you trained somebody's camp, getting them killed. You are now banned from the game. First of all, explain to me what that means. You trained somebody's camp.
So okay, so this is a thing that happens in like cell-based multiplayer games, and also like right now where this is happening, I think is in Valheim. So somebody goes, right? It's a non-PvP server, so you can't kill players. And you get together with a friend or something like that, or you do it by yourself. You go onto somebody's server and you're like, let's ruin this guy's game. So how do you ruin the guy's game when there's no PvP allowed? Well, you go around, you gather up as many enemy mobs as you can, and you chase them, creating a train of enemies. And that train of enemies is like behind you, and they're like, "Roar!"
So they're chasing you.
And
Okay.
you run into their base, and then you basically either log out or you die there, being naked already, like you've already taken off all your shit, and you've stashed it in a box somewhere, and you show up, and then these monsters just destroy that person's entire base. And it completely kills that. So, in MMOs, I do this a lot because I typically play a tank that can't die, but I'm not destroying people's like hard built, fortifications and towns and stuff like that. I'm just leading them into the enemy, like, main city complex where there's a bunch of players AFK, and then that big giant train just starts taking everybody out and killing them all. And that's really, really, really funny. Now, most games, they've made that so you can't do that anymore. But that is something that you have to kind of be a little cognizant of as a developer, is like making sure that you can't. It's basically trying to find a way to like reduce the amount that somebody control your players.
So this is something you do. This is something you do on a regular basis.
Well, again, I play a faction game where you're against an enemy faction,
right?
And you hate that faction because they're the scum of the earth. And the best thing to do with scum of the earth type, people, is to, kill them repeatedly and as often as you possibly can.
Okay.
I might have a slight problem. I don't know. Like, I train and gear myself, and I get to the point where I literally drop in. So in the latest version of this, like last time I did this, I have these special boots that when I dropped from like a high height, like I fly in over the city, and I'm like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet above the city. Like nobody can shoot at me, right? And then I'm basically doing like a sky jump dive into their base, and I turn on my special boots and I fly down super fast, and I land on the ground, and I cause this massive explosion that transfers all of the damage that I would have taken, which is like an infinite amount from the height that I was jumping at, and transfers it to all enemy player characters within a certain range. So I kill like 10 people on landing, and then I turn on like beast mode, and I just proceed to gather up everybody in the base. And I'm such a character, and I'm built in such a way that my life vamp keeps me up, because I'm literally being attacked by 1,000 people, but I'm also regenning all of that health all at once. And then I just proceed to randomly kill random people all day. It's extremely fun. I really enjoy this, but in games like Valheim, when you're building, you take time to build a base, in that game, in my game, that's just like you do that, and then boom, you die, everybody dies, and then you just res and you fly back. You're like, that effort, But in Valheim and other games like Minecraft and other things like that, you're destroying people's like work. Right? They put in hours and hours and hours and hours into these, into their little camp, and then all of their storage boxes that get destroyed destroys all of the stuff in those storage boxes.
Ugh.
And so now you've ruined an entire month of play. Now they had this happen in 76. They've had this happen in Minecraft. They've had all of these games, Rust, all this stuff. It's a very cruel thing because again, my game, you just resurrect, you've lost like a minute. You know, you're perusing the auction house, suddenly you die, and you're like, God damn it! And you're 30 seconds, you're back at the auction house. No loss, right? Maybe sometimes I kill the auctioneer and you gotta wait, 5 minutes for the auctioneer to respawn, or you can fly to the other 5 auctioneers in the town. It take a 30-second flight. It's not that inconvenient, but this is ruining somebody's entire month in some cases. That I definitely wouldn't do. That is absolutely.
Well, that is
rude.
definitely a scummy thing to do. But as far as play nice policies, where someone does that and then they get banned,
exactly.
I'm against that. I think if you are, first of all, treat your players like goddamn adults. I'm getting sick of this culture where big tech is treating us like children. I was watching a video the other day, and there was some noise, so I was watching it with subtitles while I was doing something else. And in the subtitles, the auto subtitles on YouTube now, they bleep this, like they censor out the swears. I was like, I'm a frickin' adult. If I don't like swearing, then I'll watch a different video. Stop, like, what is this?
My biggest qualms is, like, I've said this numerous times. We've said this numerous times. We don't like censorship. Censorship is unnecessary, and it usually just has the opposite effect of what you're trying to achieve. So it's like, congratulations, you are now the biggest idiot in the room.
Yeah.
Like,
well, there's
you're
that.
surprised.
There's that. Like when you're actually censoring the content of it, but it's like, oh, this word might offend somebody. Well, then you know what? They'll get offended and they'll go do something else. Like, really, why? When did becoming mildly offended become the worst thing you can do to a person? It's ridiculous. But anyway, as far
Well,
as
you're clearly not very good people if you're thinking about this.
Exactly.
Oh my.
Exactly. So, anyway, I see shit online that offends me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares that I'm offended.
Right.
But I don't get offended by swears. It's like if a video, if I was, again, like I was, I don't know, when I grew up, it was like if someone's being mean to you or doing something you don't like, or if that kid over there is saying a lot of bad words and you don't like it, go play with someone else. Like, really. Never mind. I don't want to get off into the weeds about that. But anyway, play nice policies. First of all, I mean, that just sounds like such a pandering child control thing. Like, play nice, everybody.
Actually, wasn't there? I heard that when GTA Online players play together, if like you're a so-called like bad player, like you just kind of like. You kind of play jerkily, then like you get paired up to play with other more jerky characters like you.
Well, yeah, that's one way. That's one way to handle it. Like if you don't like playing with a particular person, you block that person, and then they can't get paired with you anymore. And eventually, they'll run out of people to get paired with, except for other people like them. This is what Fall Guys did with cheaters, reportedly. People that got reported for cheating, they didn't ban them from the game. They just put them. They put them on servers with all the other cheaters. So That must have been a fun time. Anyway. Yeah, so no, I'm against play nice policies. If you want to put a stop to that, like if you want to put a stop to something like that, the nasty trolling, change the game so that the rules of the game don't allow that. Because clearly, the rules of the game allow a certain thing to happen. So don't ban a person for just taking advantage of the mechanics that are there.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous.
I don't know. You might not have a lot of friends defending you on this one. Some of the trolling things that people do are like, it's not play nice policy. It's the fact that there are people who, we've talked about there's this problem with PUBG where people will go to gaming cafes and they will pay to have a new account preloaded with as many cheats, exploits, and things as they could possibly get, and then they just sit there and ruin people's day.
But that's not what I'm talking about. That's if you're cheating and hacking, that's different. I'm talking about mechanics that are already built into the game, like
some of the, you can really troll some people quite hardcore in some of these games.
I mean, so I agree, but then, like, I get that. It's not that I don't have empathy for that. It just comes down to a principle of, like, where do you draw the line then? If something is allowed within the programming of a game and someone does that thing, and then you say, oh, you shouldn't have done that. That was kind of mean. So we're not going to let you play anymore. That doesn't seem like...
I don't know, in a choice to kind of filter who I play with. Like, it's like if I'm playing with somebody who's like bringing up GTA again, for example, let's say I'm like driving around and then somebody runs up to me and hijacks my car and like just like, I don't know, ducks around with like my quest or my mission or something, like, and if I don't like that, I could just be like, I don't like playing with you. Block. Like, just being given that choice, just to be like, okay, yeah, you're not my vibe. Go away.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I
or
agree.
like,
Yeah, I agree with that.
People like I tried playing like some COD like group team deathmatch stuff before, and like just anybody on mic was like it was too talky from like anybody else, so I just set it to like only my friends or my group, or I just muted everybody depending on my mood. And like that choice of being able to do that, right, is what I like.
Absolutely agree. You should be able to block players that you don't like playing with, for sure.
But I don't like that choice being taken away from me, because like, if I do go along with that, then that could potentially happen to me. Let's say like, I've played in games before where the person I was playing with would get really angry at me because I'm running around exploring because I'm excited because we're in a new area and I accidentally aggro all the baddies in the immediate area. Because I was running around and be like, oh shit, I need to go this. Oh crap, that was the wrong way to go. Oh no. And like, and then like, if I did that accidentally somewhere else just because I'm exploring and I don't know what I'm doing, and then I get banned for that's kind of craps.
That would be. Yeah. And I mean, I feel like when I go into an online game, I just kind of assume people are going to be jerks to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm not. It seems like that's a risk I take on when I play certain games, right? So I guess the question becomes, where do you draw that line of, well, you were being mean, so we're gonna ban you. I don't know. Anyway, final question for discussion here. Willie Ram says, tell us about some indie or AA games you've been playing and enjoying lately. It's a bit too easy to get stuck in a negative rut. I agree. I've gotten back into Kingdom Come Deliverance and I'm loving it. Again, it's such a game you really have to take your time with, and it takes hours to really figure it out. But when even the process of doing that, and then once you finally figure it out and are going through, you sort of understand how the world works and you're playing in it. Like the level of freedom, honestly, I realized as I was playing it, this is what we wanted from Cyberpunk 2077 that we didn't get. So I've been thoroughly enjoying that game. Also, as far as the indie games, there's a little indie game that I reviewed recently. It's called Space Otter Charlie. There's a review on the main channel, Triple S League. It it's very short. That's the only bad thing I have to say about this game. It's very short, but it was a really fun and cute puzzle platformer. That it's interesting because it's a zero gravity puzzle platformer. So you leap around and have a jetpack, but it's got fun guns and combat things. Very cute game, very fun game. So that's one to check out if you like that style of game. But yeah, again, I've also been really enjoying Kingdom Come Deliverance. What have you guys been playing?
Some stuff that we typically can't talk about. So,
What?
The last game I was playing, I talked about it on the last podcast. It was that Chris Tales with the past, present, future view.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to get back to that game. I'm probably going to play it later today because not only do they have like the first like chapter of their story out, but they also have a Colosseum battle function. So they have like 8 ways of increasing difficulty, and you use this past and present and future function to do your battle as well as like do unfold more of the story. Mm-hmm. So like your main character is the one who has the time view, and what you can do is send your enemy to the past or the present, depending which side they're on in relation to you. And then whatever sort of like attacks or effects that you do to them in that time zone, when you bring them back, it like kicks, it increases the effects depending on what you're doing. So like you send them to the past, and let's say like originally it's regular size adult baddie. So you send them to the past, and now it's a baby baddie. And so baby baddie in the past, you're like, oh, here, I'm going to give you this little plant here, and it's going to grow up with you. So you send back this little poison seed with one of your other characters, and it plants itself right beside baby baddie in the past. And then let's say, you throw some water on baby baddie for good measure because he's wearing such adorable armor. And then you bring them back to the future, or to the present, and then suddenly, because the baddie didn't wipe himself down, he's now rusted, so he's got defense down, and the plant has now grown up and spawned into like poison spores, so now he gets full poison damage for that, and basically you just take him down.
Wow, that is so evil.
Basically
awesome.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Yeah.
I love. I think did we talk about this on Wednesday? I love games with those kinds of time mechanics.
Yes, right.
I'd love to see some content from you on that, Moon. Like, I'd love to see a review or even just an overview of how that time mechanic works. If you're up for doing something like that, that would be fantastic. Yeah. All right. Is that all that? Oh, Ren Sten's been playing Yakuza. Dorian Gray, heavy into Valheim. Nice. Dustin.
Ooh, Ren Sten, which Yakuza are you playing? Because we've been watching Jamu's in the Discord playing from Zero.
Dustin says, I love Kingdom Come so much, but sadly the Uber Sim take on the game I can see being something that turns off a lot of people. Yeah, it is one of those games where it is like you are not the overpowered hero that goes through and takes on tons of baddies. You get tag teamed by 2 moderately skilled enemies. You are done. Like you're lucky if you're pulling through that fight, especially early on in the game. So yes, you get your ass handed to you a lot. There are times when you really want to avoid combat because you're not skilled enough yet, don't have the right equipment. But there's so much to it, so much customization for your character, so many ways you can approach every situation, such a huge world. Even I was playing it last night, and I ended the game because I was like, okay, I'll just fast travel over to this town. And so I'm fast traveling, and it's like, there's you spy, and it was the middle of the night, which I'm starting to realize traveling at night is a bad idea in this game.
I mean that's typically the way things go in the Middle Ages. It was like, oh, my village got attacked and burned down, and everybody got murdered, and it was just terrible. Well, what were you expecting? It was the middle of the night. I mean, seriously, like, duh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just you're so used to other games where things like this are no big deal. It's like, oh, some bandits attack you on the road in the middle of the night? Yeah, bring it on. Free loot. Yeah, not so much in Kingdom Come. And that's how I ended last night. It was like, there's an obstruction across the road. And so then it brings you into real, the actual game, like the actual first-person game away from the map screen. And there's this random tree that's been laid across the road. And it's like, this looks really suspicious. And I'm like, okay, I'm backing off. I start backing my horse up. Suddenly I get bucked off because like 3 guys come running out of the bush. And they proceeded to kill me very quickly. So I was like, well, I guess I'm done. So I went to bed. Because it just backed me up to my last save point, which was at the end of a quest. I think your saves are you can't just save anywhere you like either. So it forces you to be really careful with your decisions. So.
Yes, Outriders is a good game, Ren, and we will be definitely playing that. I have a copy. Ash, I believe did you pick up a copy of it already?
I had played the demo a little bit.
Yeah, so we're definitely we got a video coming out covering weapons sometime soon, and then so we're gonna dive into that game. It does come out early April, so hopefully we'll be able to hit it with some consistency. Hopefully stream it, and you can watch me try and get legendaries because I tried to get some legendaries so I could do some showcase, like, hey, look at this cool legendary, this weapon does this, it's really awesome. So I farmed for 30 hours. There's 10 legendaries in the demo that you can pick up right now that carry over to the main game. I'm like, I pick up a few of them, 30 hours in. Nothing. 30 hours in. Nothing. So, if you want to watch me struggle and cry and, have many, many tears of sadness, then, you guys can hop on and watch me try and gain some legendaries, which is totally not going to happen.
All right. With that, we should wrap up. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for today's show. Thank you for all of the questions and comments in the live chat. Really appreciate that. If you're listening after the fact, leave comments down below. If you're listening on SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, or anywhere else this podcast goes out to, we appreciate your interactions there as well. And don't forget, you can join the live show on YouTube on the Triple S Podcasts channel, where you can interact with us and be a part of the discussion. Also, check out our main channel, the Triple S League, for game guides, reviews, comedy, and tons more gaming content. We've been shuffling things up a bit, but I think we're finally getting into the groove with our content again. So, yes, excited for what's ahead. Special thank you to our Patreon supporters and our channel members and our Twitch subscribers and our Discord boosters. All of you, really appreciate that. All of that. You've seen some of their names appearing on the top of the screen throughout the show in gold, and we really appreciate that. We're working on more ways, more things to offer for our supporters and patrons. So it's whenever we ask them, they're like, can't think of anything. So we're trying to come up with stuff, though. Moon's been doing custom avatars, and that's been a lot of fun. Some great work there. All right, leave comments below, slam that like button, subscribe to all our channels. My name is Ash. On behalf of Cyber Moontag, thank you all so much for listening, and we will talk to you again very soon.